Hello students, here's a short video highlighting some of the concepts covered in Chapter 2 of Blueprint for Success in College and Career by Dave Dillon. Time management is one of the top challenges many students face, especially when they are working, playing a sport, have family obligations, or whatever else competes for their time with school. Technically, time cannot be managed. We label it time management when we talk about how people use their time. We often bring up efficiency and effectiveness when discussing how people spend their time. But we cannot literally manage time because time cannot be managed. Everyone only has 24 hours in a day, 168 hours in a week to utilize. But what we can do is find better ways to spend our time, allowing us to accomplish our most important tasks and spend time with the people most important to us. Here's the agenda for this video. We'll cover the difference between how you spent your time in high school versus what's required to be successful in college. We'll take a look at fixed time versus free time, identify, organizing, and prioritizing goals, the self-inflicted disease called procrastination, and how to avoid it, our worldview. I also included instructions for 2 assignments this semester. One of the biggest adjustments for students is when they go from high school to college. In high school, students spend 30 to 35 hours a week in class. Depending on the student, they will spend 5 to 10 hours a week studying and doing homework. If they're taking AP or IB classes, maybe 15 hours a week. In college, that is flipped. A full-time student is usually only in class or lab 12 to 15 hours a week. In college, we recommend students allot 2 hours outside of class for every hour they spend in class. That adds up to 24 to 30 hours a week studying and completing assignments. It's very rare that an instructor will allow you to complete homework in class as they did in high school. Most of the students at Palomar College work either part-time or full-time. If possible, I encourage students not to work while they're going to school so they can spend more time on their academics. I also understand that for many of our students, that is not possible. For students who are working 40 hours a week, it is recommended to only take 6 units that is considered half-time, and usually is just 2 classes. If you work up to 30 hours a week, it is recommended to only take 9 units, which is considered 3/4 time. That is usually 2 to 3 classes. Taking 12 units is considered full-time, and students who are working up to 20 hours are encouraged to be full-time students. For students who wish to complete their degree or transfer after 2 years, we suggest at least 15 units per semester. If you decide to take 15 units per semester, I'm recommending working 10 to 12 hours per week. Too often I counsel students who think they can work full-time, go to school full-time, and being in a relationship. That's a recipe for failing a class, getting fired, breaking up, or all 3. I strongly discourage it. As Oprah says, you can have it all, just not all at once. Let's talk about fixed time and free time. Fixed time is the time that you have committed to a certain area. It could be school, work, religion, or a sport, or your family. Free time is just that. It's free. You can use it for whatever you want to use it. It's time for you to have available for activities you enjoy. The question is, does studying and doing homework fall under fixed time or free time? Often students will put it under free time where it competes with activities they enjoy. I would recommend placing studying and doing homework under fixed time, like your work hours and the time you spend in class. For students who are taking online classes that don't require being on your computer at specific times, I would recommend scheduling a fixed time for those classes also. The quote says, "A goal without a plan is just a wish." I would add, that a goal without action is just a wish also. I run into a lot of students who say they have a goal of transferring after 2 years, yet they haven't met with a counselor, they don't have an education plan. An education plan is not just a list of classes you need to take, it's planning each semester that what classes you will take until you achieve your academic goal, whether it's getting a certificate, an associate degree, or transfer. Only about 1/3 of Palomar College students meet with the counselor. So if you're one of those who have not, I highly encourage you to make an appointment today. One way to create goals is by using the SMART goals method. S is for specific. It answers the 5 W's: who, what, where, when, and why. M is for measured. How will you track what you did? It has to be more than I will study more. As you can see in this example, the student will study 1 hour each day at the library from 2 to 3 p.m. A is for achievable. You don't want to set yourself up for failure by coming up with unrealistic goals. R is for relevant. How does this goal tie into your objective? In this case, the student wants to get admission to a nursing school. T is for time. There has to be a completion date. You will complete this goal by a specific date. In this case, it would be the end of the semester. There are many tips and exercises online that will help you create short and long-term goals. One size does not fit all. The one that works is the one that works for you. The method listed in the book is the ABC method. How do you put the letters A, B, and C next to your daily tasks? A is for a task that's related to your goals. B is important and have to do. And C, you could postpone this task. You may come up with a completely different method. Like I said, find a technique that works for you. Remember, you can change your goals and that's okay. Just because you told everybody you're going to be a nurse since you were 10 years old doesn't mean you're obligated to be a nurse. You're allowed to change your mind. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, is one of my favorite self-help authors. He says, if you do the most important thing first, then you'll never have a day when you didn't get something important done. By following this simple strategy, you will usually end up having a productive day, even if everything doesn't go to plan. I'm not a big fan of the word try. It's either you do it and succeed, you do it and fail, or you don't do it at all because it does not align with your short or long-term goals. We all do it, some more than others. According to Webster's dictionary, procrastination is to put off intentionally the doing of something that should be done. Many of my students talk about procrastination like it's a mental health disorder. While it's not a mental health disorder, procrastination can cause psychological distress. Frequent procrastination may negatively affect your personal, school, or work lives. Here are some techniques you can use to avoid procrastination. Tell yourself to do your best all of the time. Ask yourself what is important now. Other people's expectations of you shouldn't matter. Be confident in yourself and in your abilities. Do the best you can and be satisfied with your effort. Realize that we're not perfect. Make your goals to do your best and understand you don't need to be perfect. Also realize that you may never feel like doing an assignment or studying for an exam. Get started. It's the hardest part to do and will have the biggest effect on defeating procrastination. It can be simple. Skim the chapter you have to read. Think of a title for your paper, or schedule an hour for when you will study. The rest of it will be easier once you get started. Establish and rely on a process. Figure out what works best for you. Take some time to make a plan, list, or outline that allows you to see what you will do and when to complete your assignment or goal. It might be setting aside time early in the morning or waiting to watch a movie until after you've finished an assignment. Set your priorities and stick to them. Set imaginary deadlines. If the paper is due in 6 days, tell yourself it's due in 2 days. Knock it out early, and then enjoy not having it over your head. Fake deadlines are less stressful, and if you do end up needing more time, you have a cushion. Don't break the chain. Jerry Seinfeld developed a system to help prevent procrastination. He wanted to be a better comedian and believed that writing better jokes would help. To write better jokes, he thought he should write every day. His system, called Don't Break the Chain, was used to motivate himself to write every day. He started with a big wall calendar with a whole year on a page and a red marker. For each day he wrote, he would place a big red X on that day of the calendar. After a few consecutive days, he had a chain, and then the task became not breaking the chain. A worldview is a collection of attitudes, values, stories, and expectations about the world around us. They are a result of how you were brought up. They affect our beliefs. A belief is something that you believe or accept as true. Your beliefs affect your thoughts and feelings. In psychology, self-efficacy is an individual's belief in their capacity to act in the ways necessary to reach specific goals. Thoughts and feelings on this topic, which stem from one's beliefs, contribute to more or less success. A key element of self-efficacy is the concept of locus of control. As the definition indicates, the locus or place of control is usually either internal or external, but sometimes it's both. Obviously, if a person believes that they are in control of situations and outcomes, an internal locus, achieving goals is more likely. If a person believes they are controlled by external forces, achieving goals is less likely. But everyone experiences both internal and external forces for various reasons. For example, choosing to do the right thing on the job is based on the external control of workplace rules. Yet one might apply for the job based on one's internal belief that they can succeed. And both internal and external loci of control are in operation when one chooses to do the right thing at any time based on one's beliefs. As the author Dave Dillon states in our textbook, my favorite aspect of time is its equality. Regardless of our race, religion, or age, all of us have the same amount of time in a day, week, month, and year. Wealthy people cannot buy more time, and poor people do not receive less time. A minute for a tall person is the same amount of time for a short person. An hour for a woman is the same amount of time for a man. Regardless of how many languages someone speaks, their sexual orientation, ethnicity, educational background, income, or experience, we all have 365 days in a year. Some people will live longer than others, but when comparatively measuring how much time humans have with each other, we all have the same amount. With 168 hours in a week, how will you allocate your time? How much time is spent pursuing your short and long-term goals? Sometimes we work too much and need to spend more time socializing with friends and family. For this assignment, you will download an Excel spreadsheet. To the best of your ability, list the average hours spent in these activities. Add more activities in the empty spaces as needed, and answer these three questions. 1. Identify areas in your weekly hours you would like to increase or decrease. 2. Why? 3. What will you gain by making these adjustments? Here's one example. Be as realistic as you can be with the hours. When it comes to doing two things at once, like eating and studying, List the primary tasks such as eating. Where do you think studying should be considered? Fixed or free time? Make sure you have a total of 168 hours and try to tie your answers to your short and long-term goals. The time matrix shows how to categorize your tasks and will help prioritize your goals, tasks, and assignments. Take a look at the matrix and quadrants and identify which quadrant your activity would fall into. Quadrant 1, the quadrant of necessity, important and urgent. Only crisis activities should be here. If you have included exams and papers here, you are probably not allowing yourself enough time to fully prepare. If you continue at this pace, you could burn out. Quadrant 2, the quadrant of quality and personal leadership, important and not urgent. This is where you define your priorities. What's important in your life? What will keep you balanced? For example, you may know that good nutrition, sleep, recreation, and maintaining healthy social relationships are important, but do you consciously make time for them in your daily or weekly routine? Quadrant 2 includes your A goals. Managing your life and the lifestyle will help you manage your time. Quadrant 3, the quadrant of deception, not important and urgent. While you may feel that activities such as texting need your attention right away, too much time spent on quadrant 3 activities can seriously reduce valuable study time. This may leave you feeling pulled in too many directions at once. Quadrant 4, the quadrant of waste, not important, not urgent. Quadrant 3 and 4 include your C goals. If you're spending many hours in quadrant 4 activities, you're either having a great deal of fun or spending a lot of time procrastinating. Remember, the objective is balance. You'll notice social media and texting in this category. You can make a case that social media, texting, Netflix, and YouTube are important, but how often are they urgent? Ultimately, it's up to you to decide what is important and urgent for yourself. Your classes, assignments, preparation, and studying should almost universally be more urgent and important than social media and texting. Using the ABC method previously mentioned, write a list of tasks you need to accomplish in the next 5 days and label them A, B, or C, and which quadrant they fall under. 1. What are some of the observations you made after completing the charts? 2. Were you surprised by any of your answers? 3. What changes, if any, do you plan to make? That's it for now. Thank you for watching.